ఆనందం ఎప్పుడు ఎలా ఉంటుందో తెలియదు.
Yeah, hi Nana. So I hope you can able to hear my voice and also you can able to see my screen. Can anyone confirm these two things?
Yes, sir. I can clear.
Yeah, great. So
Yes, I can hear.
as like on Friday, we completed some of the examples on conditional statements and also we given some tasks on the conditional. So did you people started on that? Did anyone started practicing that conditional statements? Not yet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Just a second. Yeah, sorry. So today I'm going to be continue the control statements only, but like as I mentioned, these are the another one looping statements today we'll cover. So what do you mean by looping statements are ante? Looping statements are used to repeatedly run the same block of code or same set of lines of code again and again until your requirement satisfied, or I can say that until the condition failed. So basically these looping statements are also known as iteration statements or iteration statements, whatever generally we call iteration or looping statements. Okay. So basically the ultimate idea is whenever you want to run the some set of lines of code, maybe 5 lines or 10 lines repeatedly, I mean to say like 10 times or 20 times, maybe until the whatever the condition you specify to get failed. So likewise, if you want to run the code, we will use looping statements. Python is very straightforward, as I mentioned earlier also. It is more developer friendly, so it eliminates the confusion between the different options from programming language. Like if you go for Java or C language or .NET, we have multiple options like while, do while, for each, like that. But Python straight away it supports only two loops: while loop, for loop. That's all. So there is no variations which we have in the while or for in the Python. And nested means if you return a same loop within the another loop, like I can say that while loop within the while, for loop within the for, or while loop within the for, whatever it is, a loop within the loop, I can say that nested loop. It's not a different variation, it is just a what I can say that enhanced for the single loop. Okay. But ultimately, so these while and for loop will be available in Python for writing your all programs. Okay. Now when we will use while and when we will use for loop, see, if you know the exact number of iterations, like maybe you want to repeat the loop for 10 times or 20 times or 30 times, or else you know when to start and when to stop. Like for example, you want to start with 1 and you want to end with 20, like min value, max value. So in such condition or in such situation, we will use for loop. Okay. So for loop mostly used when we know the exact number of iterations. But when we go for while loop, if you doesn't aware what is exactly the number of iterations it may occur, but you know when to stop or on what condition based you want to repeat the loop, so then we will go for while loop. So likewise, you have to remember, if you know the number of iterations exactly, go for loop, otherwise go for while loop. Simple clarification. And now in this, the first one, as I mentioned, while loop. So while loop is just an enhancement for the if condition, I can say that. See, syntactically if and while there's no much difference, but only difference in if it will execute only one time, whether it is a passed or failed. But in while loop, until it fail, it will repeatedly run the code. That means it will be recursion. And also however you write the else to the if, similarly you can write else to the while loop also. So that means once while completed, the else block will be executed. And if you see the screenshot, like first we will write the test expression. If it is true, the body will execute, again go for test expression. If it is true, likewise until the false. See, once it is false, then only the loop will be exit. That is the reason I shown in diagram exit loop in the false. but when it is true, it won't exit, it will keep on repeated. Okay, so likewise the loop will be keep on repeated until your condition failed, that expression or the condition whatever you written in the at the place of test expression, that if that get failed, then only it will stop, otherwise it will keep on repeating the loop. And similarly we have for loop, as I mentioned, but the difference, as I mentioned, it has some set of sequence or number of iteration. Like example, for each item in the sequence is the name also, if you clearly observe that for each item in the sequence, that means if for example 1 to 10 if you mention, for each item in the 1 to 10, that means it will start with 1 and it will end with 10. So that's the reason, see, it's not the condition checking, but it clearly mentions if the last item reached, yes or no. So if last item reached no, then repeat the code. If last item reached, that means the last value you achieved, I mean that you come across the last value, then it will stop the loop. So likewise for loop and while loop will be executed. We'll see some set of examples so you can understand. And as I mentioned, nested loop means loop within the loop. So if you write the one loop within the another loop, we called in generally it is nested loop. So nested loop means when we have a multiple iterations, or when we required iteration within the iteration, then we will use the nested loop. But practically I will show you one by one so you can easily understand what is all this stuff. Okay, so this is all about anyway loops. So basically these are the looping statements which are available in the Python. So we'll see one by one. So by using that you may understand. So here I will go to the start the Python. So meanwhile, if you have any doubt you can ask me, or else I will go for two keywords which commonly we are using in the while or for loop. So I will explain that two keywords and one function. Basically these three things also be required before going to the practicals. So if someone have any doubt you can ask me, or else I will start that keywords and inbuilt function what it is. Does anyone have any doubt as of now?
No, sir, no doubts.
Okay, great, great. So here the next point what my intention is, see, so here in the loops in generally we may use two keywords, that is continue, okay, and then break. So basically break will use it to straight away terminate the loop at any point of time. For example, see, let's take 1 to 10 times the loop is generally repeating. Okay, now some point of time you want to terminate the loop suddenly, or else I can say that in lift we have 1 2 3 like the buttons, but we have stop button, right? So on the generally it will go for floor by floor, but suddenly if you click the stop button, what will happen, the lift will stop by that point. So likewise, we have a keyword called break in the loops. So whenever you use the break in any loop, by that moment the loop will be stopped. It won't repeat for the next moment. And similarly, we have continue also, but continue will only stop the one iteration. I can say we'll take the same example of lift only. Okay. For example, 1 to 5 floor lift is there. Just you press the 1 to 5 continuously. Okay. Or else the program how they designed is, once you start the lift, it will go to each floor and it will stop there and it will reach the end of the floor, like fifth floor, like that they design. Instead of pressing 1 2 3, they design such a way that whoever start the lift, it will reach every floor and it will stop there and it will go another lift, another floor, I can say that. So that means every time it will stop the 5 stops, 1 2 3 4 5 like that. Okay, now first point in that, if someone bypass the second floor, they don't want to stop the lift at the second floor, because no one is there in the lift who will really move to the second floor. Okay, then generally at that time also, if the lift is stopping there, it is unnecessarily wasting the other people time, so they given an option like pass. So when you don't want to open the door to the reaching of the third floor or second floor, just you can click on the pass button, so then automatically the lift go away of the respective floor, it won't stop it. That is the continue. Continue means it will skip the only one iteration and it will go as usual, it won't permanently stop it, it just go to the next floor. But when you go for you click the stop like break, it stop immediately, it will open the door, it even won't move to any other floor, just stop it there and it will keep there only. So that is the meaning of break. So my point is, if you want to stop the loop permanently, use the break keyword. If you want to stop the loop temporarily for one iteration, go for continue keyword. So one iteration continue, permanently break. I hope you understand now.
Yes, sir.
So
Understood.
this is for only one iteration, and break means it's complete loop termination. So that is what exactly meaning of continue and break. So mostly when we are writing the programs, we may use these keywords. Okay, and the next one we have a function, built function, which we
Which
commonly use
means
in the
we
loop.
cannot start any other coding after breaking the
Exactly. No,
loop,
no.
right? You cannot do that.
After the loop, you can start. Within the loop, we can't do anything. I meant to
Okay,
say,
okay. So
for
after the loop
example,
is done, then we
yeah.
can.
For
Okay.
example, I will tell you start code here is there, some code. Okay. Now loop starts. Example, some line, sorry, some lines of code is there, and loop end,
Mm.
and some end code will be there. Assume that. Okay. Now,
Okay.
if you're writing the break here, this particular block will be terminated, and this last code will be executed. Program won't terminate. Only this loop will be terminated. That's all. You got it?
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. And after this, we have a function called range function in Python. It's an inbuilt function. So this function main intention is to generate the sequence of numbers, or I can say the series of numbers, sequence or series of numbers. Okay. So whenever you want to generate some series of numbers as 1 to 10 or 1 to 100 like that, we can use this range function instead of manually you can type. For example, if I want to provide a list as a 1 to 10, manually if you want to require like this, you have to type it. So like we have to type. So again, in Python it does not support dot dot whatever I written. For your simplicity I'm writing, so you have to type 1 to 10 all the values. If you type the 1 to 100 also, you have to type it. So it's very difficult to manually typing such a list of numbers as a huge list. So for that only we have a option range. So how the range will works means, so range will take the three arguments actually. So basically min, max, and step up. So these are the three arguments. Based on that your output will be generated. I will showcase you how that. For example, you written 1 to 5. Okay, simply you written 1 to 5. So by default, if you not written any step up, it will consider as a 1 as a default value. So step up will be 1. So that means it will generate 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So please remember, range will exclude the max value. Exclude means it does not include in the list. So if you given the 5, it will stop with 4. If you given 10, it will stop with 9. So for example, if you want to include the 5, so what is your ultimate idea? You have to include the 6 like that. Okay. And now the same thing, step up 1 comma 10 I given, but here step up I given as a 2. So by default it's 1, but if you mention the 2, now it will start with 1 obviously. Each time it will increment by 2. The step up means it will increment by 2. So now 3, 5, 7, 9. So it won't go to the 11 because it is already exceeding the 10, the max value. So it will stop with 9. So like that you can mention the step up also. And even the reverse way also you can do the same approach like, sorry, it's not step, it is range. So whenever you require this sort of sequence or list of values, instead of manually can type, you can use the range function. So 10 comma 1 comma I can give the -2. Okay. So decremental loop also will be possible. Like in this case, what happened? First we will start with 10, 8, 6, because it is moving towards the down.
So, sir,
4, yeah,
one question, sir.
yeah,
So range is 1 comma 6 you said, no? So
yeah.
in between values will it take, or it will also consider the first initial value of 1?
Yeah, see, it
I
will
mean,
include
they
the
can't
first
start
min
from 2.
value, it will exclude the max value. Include the min,
Okay.
exclude the max.
It's for range. For
Yes,
range, it will include the mean, but it will exclude the max.
yes, in this. If you go for decremental way, it will include the max. That means, so in simpler way, include the start value, exclude the last value. Like that you can remember. In this case, it includes the 10, but it won't include the 1.
Okay.
So it will stop with 2 and then it will stop it. It won't go for 0 because already it reached the 1.
Okay.
You got it?
Last example, I didn't get it, sir.
Yeah,
Matlab minus
one
2.
second. See, for example, it decremental, na? It will start with the ranges 10. -2 means it will decrement the value by 2. -2. 10 minus 2, 8. 8 minus 2, 6 like that.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Got it, got
For
it. So it
example,
is taking, it is skipping 2 numbers.
yes. So for example, if I'm writing 20 comma, let's take -1 I'm giving. Okay. So now I'm giving here as a 5 as a decrementer, sorry, -5. Okay, so now,
Okay.
so what is your starting value now? It is 20.
20,
Then so
15
20
and
minus
10.
5. Each time you should see the third value should
Yeah.
increment or decrement will decide, and the second value will be your stopper value.
Okay.
So now it
Okay.
will be 10,
10
5,
and
0.
5, and it will stop.
0, because I mentioned as a -1, right? So before the -1, 0
Ah,
will be
sorry,
there.
right,
So
right.
we can
Sorry, sorry.
include the 0.
Correct, correct, correct.
Yeah. So
Correct, sir.
like that, whenever you require any set of range of values, means like this series, you can use this range function in Python. That is the usage of the range function. So I hope you understand. And
Okay.
range can be used in
Yes, sir.
incremental way and as well as decremental way.
Okay. Got it, sir.
Got it, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Good. Just a second. Any doubts as of now?
No, sir. Clear.
That's great. So by this, I hope we are good to start the examples. Okay. So I'm going to be starting the examples on this particular looping statement. So here I'm creating a subfolder called loops, where you can try some examples on loops. Very simple example will start so that you can easily understand. Okay, let's take example. I want to print the even numbers. Very simple logic. Even, like, otherwise odd numbers, I can say that I want to print the odd numbers up to given limit, I can say that. For example, if I given 50 as a limit, I want to print 1 to 50 all the odd numbers. Similarly, if I enter the 100, 1 to 100, I want to print all the odd numbers. So for that, we should use some loop. So how we will use, we'll see. Okay, now I can use the I will demonstrate this example with while loop. Okay, so how it will be, we'll see. So now new Python file, and odd list I'm putting here. Okay, yeah. So first of all, as I mentioned, we want to take the limit. So that is the max value to print the odd number. So as usual, it's a number. So we can take the int of input of enter limit, and now we want to print it the odd number. So let's take, I'm taking I equal to, initially I'm starting with 1. Okay, now I'm writing while loop. So 1 I less than or equal to limit, because the I value initialized with 1. Okay, so it's ending with the condition whatever we specified. So this is the way of syntax. So first we have to write the variable with initialization, and then in the within the while we should write the condition. Okay, so this is technically we call, I'm writing the comments. So initialization. Okay, and that means starting value, and this is we call condition to stop the loop. So because if this condition failed, then only the loop will stop. Until that, it will continue the execution part. Okay, and now I just want to print the odd numbers. So the value which are coming, whether odd or even, I'm not sure by such physically. So I need to check the condition. So for that I'm writing if I, so really odd number means as you know, so percentile should be equal to 1, because if it is 2 divides the 0, then it's called even number. If 2 divides the remainder will be 1, it is an odd number. So if it is odd number, I want to print that value, so I'm printing the value. If not, I don't want to do anything, so no need of writing the else block, because if is also can be written with the else, without else also. So no need of like I can say that write the every time you, whenever you write the if, that times you should not, you know how to write the else block. Okay, so this is the one thing. And finally, if you want to write the else here itself, like example, what we can say that, say someone is entered the negative number, I can say for example, so in that case we can't have any even one value also, because the I value is 1, so I it's not less than or equal to negative value, it's more than, so the condition will get stopped. So likewise in the Python only, it's not even in the Java or .NET, this approach we don't have. Okay, so in only Python we have approach. For the while also you can write the else as like your if else. So now I'm writing simply, so print, it's an invalid value, I can say that invalid, or else it is negative value. So please enter only, we can write better way, so we please enter only positive values. So like that we can define. Okay, so this is how we can write else block with the while block also. So just like condition, but only difference, if can be executed only once, while will be executed until the condition failed. Okay, so this is the basic difference you need to remember when we are writing the what I can say the code. So now enter the limit I'm given. So first condition I'm giving 10. So now you see it's keep on printing the 1 1 1 only, it doesn't stop that, because it went to infinite loop. Because what happened, if you observe that initially I value I given as a 1, and it's checking the limit I given as a 10, so 1 less than or equal to 10, yes. So if 1 percentile 2 equal to 1, yes, it is odd number, so it's printing. Now again it go back to the equal, still 1 only, but what we have to do, whenever it is printed the value one time, now we have to increment that particular value by 1. So we should write I equal to I plus 1. So this is what we call increment operation. So whenever you do your operation, after that in the while loop you have to perform the increment and decrement operation. Now the same program I'm running and the same input I'm giving as a 10. Now you can expect, see, 1 3 5 7 9, and please only enter positive value, see that. So the another problem here is, if you observe that the please enter only positive values, even it's getting the last value, see that the means for what I can say that even positive input also. Why? Because what happened, when we are approaching the I less than or equal to limit, so for example when I reaching the limit, let's take example 11 if you consider, so 11 not less than 10, so in this case also the condition failed. So that's why the what we can say that the condition, the please enter value positive values will be printing, but we should not do like that. So in this case what you need to do, so you can write,
Sir,
yeah, tell me.
doubts like I didn't get it actually.
Yeah, tell me.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు అది ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు లిమిట్ అని రాశారు కదా, లిమిట్ మనం ఆ వాల్యూ ఇవ్వాలి సార్ అక్కడ లిమిట్ అనే
Yes,
ప్లేస్
limit
లో.
మనం అడుగుతున్నాం కదా పైన. సో ఇన్ లైన్ నెంబర్ 1 వి ఆర్ ఆస్కింగ్ రైట్ ఎంటర్ ద లిమిట్. సో ఇక్కడ నేను ఏమి
ఓకే.
ఇచ్చా 10 ఇచ్చాను ఇక్కడ. అంటే నా ఇంటెన్షన్ ఏంటి ఇక్కడ 10 1 to 10 వరకు నాకు ఆడ్ నెంబర్స్ ప్రింట్ అవ్వాలని.
ఇప్పుడు అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఐ వాల్యూ 10 అయింది కాబట్టి 10% బై 2 అంటే ఇది పర్సెంటేజ్ తీసుకుంటుంది కదా సార్,
పర్సెంటైల్ అంటే
10%
రిమైండర్
బై 2.
తీసుకుంటది.
ఓకే, పర్సెంటేజ్ బై 2 ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు 1.
1
సో
1
ఆ 1
ఎందుకంటే
కంటే
ఆడ్ నెంబర్
ఎక్కువ,
కాబట్టి.
అదే. సో ఇన్ కేస్ 1 కంటే ఎక్కువ వెళ్తే దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ నాట్ టేక్ ఇట్.
1
ఇట్స్ నాట్
ఎక్కువ
ఈక్వల్ టు
ఎల్దు.
1.
ఈవెన్ ఆడ్‌కి అయితే 0 వస్తది లేదంటే 1 వస్తది, అంతే వస్తాయి, ఇంకేం రావు.
అదే. సరే బ్రేక్ అయిపోతుంది ఇంకా.
yes.
ఓకే. ఓకే సార్, గాట్ ఇట్.
సార్
yeah, tell me Nana.
సార్ ఇది మనం ఫర్ లూప్ లో రేంజ్ ఇచ్చినట్టు వైల్ లో ఇవ్వరాదా సార్? అంటే వైల్ లోనే
అంటే
కండిషన్
రేంజ్ ఇవ్వలేము.
డైరెక్ట్లీ.
we can't do the range because that is the major difference between for and while. సో ఈవెన్ సి ఇక్కడ కూడా మనం రేంజ్ వరకే చేస్తున్నాం, ఐ లెస్ దాన్ ఈక్వల్ లిమిట్ అంటే 1 to 10 అనే చేస్తున్నాం, బట్ రేంజ్ అని వాడలేము ఇక్కడ.
సార్
యా Yeah, and final touch up is, so here as I mentioned, so else block is executing properly, but we want this statement when I is less than 0 only. So that's why in if else I'm writing if I less than 0, okay. So in that case only I want to print it, otherwise I don't want to print anything. So now you see what happened. So if I'm giving 10, you will get output, it won't print any statement because we got it output already, no need of that only positive entries. And if I'm giving the same value as a -10, now you will get the, instead of what happened, I equal, sorry, it's not, I think we did the mistake, it's not I, it's a limit, yeah, because we are comparing the limit, not the I. So yeah, it's working now, and now I'm giving -10 as a limit, okay. So now it should give the error message, yeah, please enter only positive values, okay. So like that you can control the conditions, as yesterday Friday I told you. So conditional statements as you required, however you required, you can write. See, in this example I used the both are simple ifs only. Here also I written the only if, here also I written the only if, I didn't write any else block for here. So that is how you can use if else or only if also, it depends on your requirement. Got it? Any doubts as of now? Up to here is clear, everybody? Hello?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. So to make it simplified for you people, the same example if you want to do in the for loop, okay. So now I'm doing, see here, same example to make it simplify how the differentiation will be there, and here I'm writing odd list 2, okay. Now you see same example I'm writing, but only difference as I mentioned, instead of when you go for while loop, initialization, condition to stop, increment, three things you should write, right? But in the for loop, no need of these, no need of these. Simply we can write while loop instead of for, and here the syntax will be I in. We have to write range, as I mentioned, right? Range of. So what is the starting value we require here? 1. So what is the last value we are expecting? Limit, right? So limit plus 1, because we require to stop by limit, so we have to exceed with plus 1. And now same, nothing to change any logic as usual. Now you can run the same output you are expecting, but see the number of lines of code it may reduce. See that 1 to 9 you got it, and if you see the -10, the same error message will get it. See that, okay. So this is the way, the how you differentiate from while loop to for loop, I can say that, okay. But my point, see, it's not the condition like we can't write some logic with using for or without using while, like that. Every logic in every program you can try with both for and while, but performance wise in real time choose the right option, that's all. But logic wise you can implement everything with even for loop or while loop. That is what I want to conclude by these two examples. So do you have any doubts? Please ask me, or else I will continue the next point. Any doubts as of now?
No, sir. We'll
Great.
continue.
So now we will see the demonstration of for break and continue keywords. So we explained theoretically, now we will see practically how the differentiation, okay. So let's take first we'll see the continue demo, okay, or else we can see both will be in the same line, so that time save. Continue break demo, okay, simply. So now what I want to here, I want to print the same way. Let's take 1 to 10 values, assume that, okay. So for I in range of 1 comma, here I want to give the 10. So 1 to 10 means you have to give 11. Obviously remember, always remember that So when you want to stop with some value in the for loop, you have to give +1. Okay. Now simply you can print it, print I. That's all. Okay. So now just run this program. So we are expecting 1 to 10 as an output. Okay. So whether coming, yes, it's coming. Okay. To make it even simplified, what I'm writing as a 6, I'm writing here. Okay. So see here 1 to 5 is getting. To make it, as I mentioned already, range function, right? So for example, if I'm giving 1 to 20 and each time I want to increment by 5 example. Okay. So now you see 1 to 20 you are getting 1, 6, 11, 16, and now I want to give the 0, and here let's assume that now what you are getting is 0, 5, 10, 15, because you are giving a stopper for 20. Now in the place of 20, if you are giving 21, so now print it, try the print, so you are getting even 20 also. So the same output, if you want to try with negative way, let's take 20 comma 0 comma, let's take -5, I'm giving reverse way. Okay. So now you are getting 20, 15, 10. See, it's not printing 0 because we mentioned the 0 as the target. So if you want to print the 0 also, mention the -1. Now you will get even 0 also in your output. See that. So range function, is it clear everybody now? Incremental way, decremental way, all of you. Any doubt as of now?
Yes, sir, it is clear in range.
Great.
Range is clear, sir.
Yeah, fine. So now let's take a simple example. 1 to 20, sorry, so 0 to 20, and each time increment by 5. Okay. So now, yeah, we are getting output, right? So let's take, I don't want to print the value called 10, assume that. Okay. I don't want to print the value called 10. So I just want to print the, let's take 0 and 5 and 15. I don't want to print the 10. So in that case, how we will write? So if I is equal to 10, so you don't want to print it, right? So simply we can write continue. Okay. So this means when the I value reaching the 10, it does not allow to print, it will skip it. So for that only, again it will print the 15. So now you see the output, you will easily understand the logic. See that 0, 5, 15. 15 is printed, but 10 is not printed because when we are reaching the I value as a 10, we written the condition. So that's why it won't print. But if you miss this condition, it won't print anything because every time it's coming inside and it will repeat the loop. See, that's why it's showing error because it doesn't make any sense of that. Okay. So even if you remove this, see, if I'm running this, it won't print anything because every time going inside, coming outside. So that's why I given a condition for that. Okay. Similarly, if you use the break here in terms of continue, what happened, as I said, it will stop the loop. That means once 10 reached, it won't allow you to print anything after the 10. That means you want to print 15 also. So it simply print 0 and 5. See that. I hope you understand the outcome of the break and continue. So break means once break get executed in any loop, by that point it will stop the loop, it come out of the loop. But whereas even to make it clarified for you, okay. So here I'm writing print exit, I'm writing, okay. So now see here, you got 0 and 5 and exit, you see. But when you go for continue, so now instead of 5 and exit, you will get 15 also because it only terminates the 10 only, it doesn't touch the 15 because 15 is still in the list only. So likewise, what I'm trying to explain, even to make it more simplified, I'm writing 1 to 6. Okay, here I'm writing I equal to 3, that's all. Okay, now you see you will get output of 1 comma 2 comma 4 comma 5, only 3 is skipped if you see here because at the time of 3 only I written the continue. But if the same thing, if I'm updating as a break, you will get only 1 2, you won't get 3 4 5. See that, because when the time of 3 break executed, so it stopped the loop, by that point it will come out of the exit. So likewise, break will terminate complete loop and continue will terminate only one time of iteration. So still, if anyone have doubt in these two keywords, please ask me. Otherwise, I will go with next example.
Sir, pass is used for?
Pass, it's not for loops. No? Pass and return, these two keywords is used for three keywords actually. So that I will explain when I cover the functions. So basically that are used in the functions topic. Okay, what is that? First one pass, second one return, third one yield. So these two keywords are used in the functions. So at time of functions I will explain these three keywords, but basically you also will like pass is used to skip the function. It's not for loop. One function if you want to skip, then we will use the pass keyword. Okay, I hope you understand, but more detailedly how that will be used and where we will use in terms of functions, the next topic functions will start, where I will explain all this stuff. Okay,
Okay,
any
sir.
other doubts?
No, sir.
Any doubt? No? Okay. So let's move for next example. So I want to do let's take some of the integers up to given range. Okay. For example, as I mentioned, if I'm giving 10, I want to print that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus like up to the plus 10 is equal to value. So that is what I'm expecting here. So first, as usual, I'm taking n int of input of enter value, and then sum initially I'm initializing with 0, and now for I in range of range of 1 comma n plus 1, and now here sum equal to sum plus I, and now finally print sum. So now what it will do, it will print all the values which are given here. Okay, so now right click, so run sum of integers. If I am giving 5, it will give the 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 15. So likewise, whatever the value we given, it will take the iteration further and give the sum. So this is how the advantage of the loops. So instead of we are manually doing sum equals sum plus 1, sum equals sum plus 2, sum equals sum plus 3. So we are iterating the loop we are doing, and the loop will be replaced every time the I value with 1 to 10. So or 1 to 5 or 1 to 100. So like that, the looping statements will help you to simplify your logic or your code, and it will reuse the same code again and again. But the same logic, see, this is only one line of code. Okay, now if you want to reuse the entire this program as a reusable code, then the functions will be take care. So functions topic, that is what we are going to be explaining. The functions will help you to reuse the entire program, but whereas the loops will reuse a line of code or a lines of code at a same point of time. That is what the difference between functions and loops majorly, but both will be used for recursion or repetition. So functions you can use to repetition, similarly loops also can be used for repetition. Okay, so that is what the word we use, recursion or iteration. So iteration means by using loops we are repeating the things, Recursion means by using function you are repeating the things in the program. So but both the things can be used for repetition only. So at the time of functions I will more go in detail about them. Okay, so this is technically all the things about the looping statements, Anna. And try to understand these things and try to practice these things. If you have any doubts you can ask me in the next class. So in the next class I will more on spend on examples on looping statements, like example prime number, a palindrome, factorial. These are commonly interview based questions what commonly used in as a Python base, and even that is more useful for your logic understanding also. And then we'll see some of the real-time questions also. So once it's completed, then I will start the functions topic. So that is also very important for your Python understanding. Okay, so once functions completed, then I will start the collections, that is list, tuple, dictionary, that all topics I will cover. So once these are things will completed, then we can one track will be completed. After that we have oops, like how to create a class object, and how to create the variables, different types of variables, that all will becomes under the picture. And after that the main like a last topic will be like modules like exception handling, date and time, file handling, and also like we have regular expressions. These are the few topics which we there. So that will be used for your real-time programming basically, but the core concepts will be up to the collections only. Like for fresher, I mean to say, for fresher, if you apply for any job in terms of Python, so up to collections if you are really good, that is more than enough, because they will ask n number of questions on these up to collections only as a programmatically. And maybe some people will ask you theoretically on the oops and as well as exception handling, but practically these up to collections only you have to more focused. Okay, yeah, we'll see in the next class on these topics. So if you have any last minute questions, please ask me, or else we can wind up the class.
No doubt, sir. I'm good.
Yeah, great. Then I will share the video today, and please go through that and do the practice and ask me doubts if you have anything on the Wednesday. Okay, bye, take care.
Sure, sir.